Namaste. I'm Susan Kaylock, the President of the Board of Trustees here. I was just about to go into service. Why don't you join me?
Hello, I'm Reverend Bobby. I'm the Senior Minister here at Namaste. Welcome. We're glad you came to join us. Come on in. We're about to start.
Hello, namaste. Hi, welcome. Welcome to our Sunday afternoon service. We are so glad that you've joined us on this Sunday afternoon, the first Sunday in March. So welcome. And as we move into March, which is Women's History Month, I just want to give a little bit of history here that in March 1980, President Jimmy Carter issued the first presidential proclamation declaring Women's History Week to align with International Women's Day, which is March 8th. And then in 1995, each U.S. president has declared March to be Women's History Month. So yes, we are in for a treat with this upcoming video about Women's History Month. It's a special tribute to women who have contributed to the awareness and expansion of women and their contribution to what this month means. So get your dancing shoes on as we start our service with a Women's History Month video.
Women are history makers, movers and shakers. You can't mistake their impact on our lives. Women are history makers, movers and shakers. Groundbreakers, time to recognize. Time to recognize. Okay, I have a word for you. Suffrage, S-U-F-F-R-A-G-E, means the right to vote. Hundreds of years in our country, women were told no, and that they should stay silent when it came to how our country was run. Not until 1920 did they change the Constitution. Sojourner Truth and Susan B. Anthony, yes to women's rights and no to slavery. All of the suffragettes were an example of bravery. For years they organized, their power grew and grew, and women got that right to vote. So you know it's true that women are history makers, movers and shakers. You can't mistake their impact on our lives. Women are history makers, movers and shakers. Groundbreakers, time to recognize. Time to recognize. Okay, here's another word. Equal, E-Q-U-A-L, as great as, to the same degree. Ruth Bader Ginsburg fought for gender equality. This amazing lawyer was a justice on the Court Supreme with a really cool nickname, the Notorious RBG. Women all around us to support civil liberties, see what's out of balance in our laws and our communities. Then they jump into action and use their words to create unity. Their passion stirs inside, all can rejoice. The greatest tool of a woman is her voice. Women are history makers, movers and shakers. You can't mistake their impact on our lives. Women are history makers, movers and shakers. Groundbreakers, time to recognize. Time to recognize. All right, check this one. Global, G-L-O-B-A-L, means the world entirely. Women all around the globe are also making history. Like Greta Thunberg, who is Swedish and at age 15 made the world see that we have to keep our earth healthy. Keep on learning other names, one thing is a guarantee. Women near and far and everywhere are making history. And they inspire us to become all that we can be. It feels so good to shout it out. There is no doubt that women are what? Women are history makers, movers and shakers. You can't mistake their impact on our lives. Women are history makers, movers and shakers, groundbreakers. Time to recognize. Time to recognize.
Hello, Namaste. This is our time that we set aside all that beautiful activity of the video and rest and focus to open and step into our service, all of it, with lighting our candle. And this just signifies stepping over a threshold and stepping in and creating a sacred space. Wherever we are, wherever your home is, that we just clear the space, clear the road for everything to come forward. And if we can put the slide up, Paulette. Perfect. The affirmation for this month is beautiful. Today, I accept the divine promises. That is this life. I accept these promises with the oneness of a child and the joy of one who receives this good and grateful recognition of the all-sustaining beauty. I accept divine guidance as it runs as me and the entirety of all that is. I accept the beauty and the peace of this presence. I accept joy and abundance. I accept health and wholeness. I accept love. I accept a good beyond my recognition, beyond my greatest dream. Today, I accept my good as that good is the goodness of spirit. And with that, let's go into our invocation. Let's go into prayer. And I take that line, the all-sustaining beauty, for it is that all-sustaining beauty that I breathe into right now, knowing that there are many words that equate to God. One that is beauty, wholeness, love, each of them having different connotations, but all equal to that which is God. And it is in that equanimity, as this beautiful video stated, that it is this one life that is back of all life, that it is my life now. And it is in this understanding and truth that I am fully anchored in. I know it of each and every one of our lives. For it is in this sacred place that I know that time is blessed, that I am anxious to know and see each individual on the screen, to hear the word of Reverend Bobby, Reverend Branden, and all of his wisdom and what he brings forward, the song, the music, each of those words selected by them, only knowing in the oneness that they will speak to my heart, right where I am. And in this knowingness, there's nothing else to do but let this time unfold only in perfection. And together we simply say, and so it is.
Thank you, Jeff. Just want to pause for a second and say that video was awesome, and that song was great. I might be playing it next week. We'll see about that. For right now, we're going to do Eddie Watkins' Walking with the Spirit. So come on and walk with the Spirit with me. Well, I'm walking in the Spirit, and I'm talking in the Spirit, and I'm learning from the Spirit, and I'm turning to the Spirit, and I'm growing in the Spirit, and it's showing in the Spirit. Walking with the Spirit in front of me. When I find myself in one of those situations that's leading me to some kind of drama or confrontation, I go within, I get plugged into my prayer before it's too late. Put the Spirit in front of me to make those crooked places straight. I'm walking with the Spirit, and I'm talking to the Spirit, and I'm learning from the Spirit, and I'm turning to the Spirit, and I'm growing in the Spirit, and it's showing in the Spirit. I'm walking with the Spirit in front of me. When I find myself in one of those situations and I don't know what to do and I got no explanation, I go within, I get plugged in, oh, for a revelation. 10 times out of 9 things will work out fine without my participation. Yeah, I'm walking with the Spirit, and I'm talking to the Spirit, and I'm learning from the Spirit, and I'm turning to the Spirit, and I'm growing in the Spirit, and I show it in the Spirit. I'm walking with the Spirit in front of, walking with the Spirit in front of, walking with the Spirit in front of me.
Yes. Awesome, Con.
Thank
That
you.
was great. Spirit was definitely walking through you through that song.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your gifts and talents with us. Yes, yes.
My honor always.
Beautiful. Okay. Hello again. Yes, we're going to move into our Namaste, who we are. In case you were wondering who we are, let's see. Let's read this together. I honor the place in you in which the entire universe dwells. I honor the place in you which is love, truth, light, and peace. When you are in that place in you, and I am in that place in me, we recognize that we are one. Namaste. Yes, beautiful. And then as we move into our mission statement, so remember, this is how it works, okay? This is the cycle of our mission statement. I learn practical science of mind tools and practice in a loving, connective, and vibrant community to reveal my power and change my life. And how does it work? Well, first, if you look at the circle on the top, we awaken to a new truth in our lives. And then we realize how that truth has played out in our lives. Then we move into, we take our new knowledge and transform our lives. And we repeat this process in our lives in new ways. Yes. And our power statements are, we are thriving. We are a thriving, dynamic, spiritual community. We are Namaste. And yes, this stuff works. And then as we move into our next slide, next Sunday, which is daylight savings time, so set your clocks, we are going to be on March 14th, join us in the park as we not only release and let go, but we are going to vision together and by creating a vision board. So we're actually going to create a vision board during service. So bring a magazine or cutouts or print out words that you want to contribute to the vision board for your own personal vision and for the vision of Namaste. And our practitioners will be helping to build this vision board during service. And rumor has it that there's going to be a really cool speaker speaking next Sunday. I think it's me. So I hope to see you there, and I'm sure we're going to have a beautiful spring day. Next slide, please. Uncommon Conversations with Reverend Bobby Becker. Yes, I love that title. So Namaste has launched a new program entitled Uncommon Conversations. And this new program includes conversations with uncommon people serving as spiritual leaders in diverse ways. Each conversation includes tools and stories of walking an uncommon life. Our first of a series includes Reverends Melissa Philippi and Z. Egloff and their ministry, Oh My God, Life. The conversation is posted on YouTube or now on public television channel LA 36, Unlocking Your Life. Yes, beautiful. I love that. Thank you, Reverend Robbie. And next, the Healing Circle coming up is Wednesday, March 17th, and we will be taking a trip to India, a virtual travel trip with practitioner Valerie Day. She will be taking us to India. Gina Decker, who's an Ayurvedic practitioner and yoga instructor, who is also a retired deputy sheriff, so she has lots of stories to share. She will be our guide, our tour guide, as she has traveled the world to all 7 continents, and India is one of her favorite places. So please join us, register in advance, and that will be Wednesday, March 17th from 7 to 8 p.m. I hope to see you there. Wear your sari, put your bindi on, bring your incense, and we'll have a full experience of India together. And then on our next slide, Digging Deeper. So Digging Deeper is now the first Wednesday of each month. So we'll have the Healing Circle with Valerie Day on the 3rd Wednesday. And then the first circle I will be hosting, the first Wednesday of the month, I'll be hosting Digging Deeper. So look to your newsletter or the website for the next special guest coming in April. Hope you can join us. And then if you love to sing, whether it's in the shower or where in your car, are you ready to let your creative juices flow? Well, now is the time you can sign up for the Southern California Centers for Spiritual Living Regional Choir. The information is on the slide, the email address that you can join, and they practice every Thursday at 6 p.m. It's a beautiful way to express yourself. So please join the choir as they practice together. Next slide, please. And if you haven't yet signed up, Namaste is launching their self-service portal, Servant Keeper. So you can go to you can contact Stephanie, our administrator, at admin@Namaste CSL if you want help with how to create your own account, put your information in. And this is a great way that we can connect with each other. It's like a Namaste directory, and that we can connect with each other and continue to create a community. So you can check with Stephanie if you need help with that. So thank you. And then if you want to start your day out, what's better than a cup of coffee is a couple of practitioners. Yes, every day at 7 a.m., Monday through Friday, their Namaste practitioners are praying on Zoom, and you can join in and put your prayer requests in. And it's a beautiful way to start your day. Practitioners are amazing prayer holders, light holders for you. So please join. The Zoom information is on the slide, as well as the link is on our website. So it's easy to register in advance by clicking on the link on our website. So start your day out with some prayer, and I know that will create a beautiful day. So thank you so much, and namaste.
This next tune is called I Am Love, and thank you, Rev Veronica, by the way, as always. Thank you. And it's by the special Denise Rosier, or I'm not really sure how you say it, but I like to say it like that. And she was with us, singing a couple weeks ago, and it's really cool to be able to play her music and then actually, meet her sort of in person, virtually. And this song is really pretty, so let's try and go deeper as we head on into meditation. I am goodness, grace beyond measure. I am peace, here and now. I am wholeness, thrive in perfection. I am love, I am love. I am life, free and abundant. I am joy, awakened and wild. I am spirit, open and boundless. I am love, I am love. Sing along wherever you are. We are goodness, grace beyond measure. We are peace, here and now. We are wholeness, thriving perfection. We are love, we are love. We are life, free and abundant. We are joy, awakened and wild. We are spirit, open and boundless. We are love, we are love. We are spirit, open and boundless. We are love, we are love, we are love.
That was lovely. That was lovely. In our time now for meditation, if I didn't at the beginning of the service, my name is Jeff Schlicht. I'm a practitioner here at Namaste Center for Spiritual Living. And once again, I am so pleased that Reverend Branden is with us today. And a few words before we step into meditation is his topic of living in the question. For myself, there is one question of the ages. Might not be small, but what is the meaning of life? Not life out here, but my life. My answer to this question is to know who I am as the individualized expression of God and be that in the world to my greatest understanding. Standing in the question of who I am, not my doingness, but a deeper soul level of knowing my gifts and fully expressing them in the world. As God has no beginning and no ending, and my recognizing that I am the essence of God, my self-knowingness is a lifetime of deep reaching, and then the subtleness of small shifts in the understanding of who I am in, as, and through God in my life. Yes, the question is understanding my life, that is the one life, that is God's life. And that life is my life now, and being that in the world. Today, I choose to stand in that question, an absolute openness. And with that in mind, let us go into meditation. However you do it for yourself, I close my eyes and take a deep breath. And it is that deep breath that I just step within myself to my core, to my soul. For it is here that I know God is not linear and there is no space and time. And in our meditation for contemplation today, we will use a quote from A Course in Miracles. I am as God created me. I am as God created me. And one other quote from a Gospel of St. Thomas. If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. And I breathe that in and reach deep within my soul. For it is here that I know my individualized expression of my life that is God. For it is that truth that I am as God created me to be. Many things, but uncompartmentalized, only as a wholeness that I know myself to be. And in this quietness and fullest understanding, each moment of each day passing, knowing more as the world moves around me, I reach deeper to truth. And then I fully express it into the world. For if you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. Be all that you know that you are. It is in this knowingness that I live my life as that which is that fullest expression as I know my life to be as God in this world. And it is in this quietness of my soul that I know I can reach into at any time to know this truth of my life, that we now use our breath to step back out into the fullness of this space, this service. Feeling the chair beneath you, the space around you. Coming fully present as we anticipate Reverend Branden's talk. Now go be who you've been here to be. I love each and every one of you. God bless you.
Thank you, Jeff. When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And in my hour of darkness, she is standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, oh, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. And when the broken-hearted people living in the world agree, there will be an answer, let it be. But though they may be parted, there is still a chance that they may see. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, oh, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, oh, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. And when the night is cloudy, there is still a light that shines on me. Shine on till tomorrow, let it be. And I wake up to the sound of music. Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, oh, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, oh, let it be. There will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be, oh, let it be. And whisper words of wisdom, let it be.
Thank you, my friend.
Thanks, Bob.
Beautiful words. Very grateful that we get to bring in Rev. Branden Robertson. And I'm going to talk a little bit about who he is before I bring him up out of our green room. Extraordinary. I actually was able to, the first time I heard about him, I was reading the book Wanting Liminal Space by Richard Rohr, and an essay that he wrote is in this book. And the essay touched me so deeply that I pretty much immediately reached out to Rev. Branden. And I'm just going to tell you a little bit about him. He's an author and an activist and a public theologian, and he's working at the intersections of spirituality and social renewal. He's written for lots of different periodicals, and including San Diego Tribune, Time Magazine, Huffington Post, NBC, The Washington Post. He's been regularly interviewed. He's been a speaker at the White House, Oxford University, and the Parliament of World Religions. He was also named a fellow at the Salzburg Global Seminar. He was a senior pastor between 2017 and 2020 at Mission Gathering Christian Church in San Diego. He's worked with political leaders. I love what this man is doing, and he's doing it from a place that, I'm going to bring him up here so I don't surprise him. He's doing it in a place that isn't always the likely place to look, which is evangelical Christianity. And I'm finding it's refreshing, and I know you're not alone in it, but Rev. Branden, I'm so excited that you get to talk about what you're doing and this idea of living the question.
Totally. Well, it's my honor to be here, and I'm so grateful that you reached out and to be able to join this community for this time this evening. As we
turn it right over to you, so go ahead and take over the mantle.
Perfect. Well, again, hello everyone. As you heard, my name is Branden, and I am an LGBT Christian minister and activist. And my journey spiritually, like I'm sure so many of our journeys, has been long and winding. I've been a fundamentalist Baptist and an evangelical and an almost Mormon, and now today I'm some progressive, agnostic, spiritual, Christian-ish person, and I'm sure many of you can resonate with that ambiguity. But tonight, I'm really excited to be able to talk about the idea of leadership and liminal spaces. Liminal spaces are thresholds. They're those moments in between what once was and what is to come. And frankly, liminal spaces are terrible. When we're in them, we have both a sense of gratitude for what already happened, but also loss for the past and excitement for the future mixed with anxiety. Collectively, I think this pandemic has been a liminal space for so much of humanity. And now, in this space, we remember how things used to be. And we yearn for what life could be on the other side. But in this tension, there's a knowing. This is a liminal space. So what does it look like for us in a space like this to lead from a place of spiritual groundedness? All of us lead something, whether it's leading our lives, which is a big responsibility, or leading a family, or leading at work, or leading in a community. Every one of us is a leader. We're all moving towards something. But how do we do that? How do we lead in the in-between and in the tension, in this strange season that feels like no season at all? One of the stories that has shaped my life the most comes from the Hebrew Bible in the book of Genesis, chapter 12. In Genesis chapter 12, we're introduced to a man named Abram. We're not told anything about Abram before he appears in this chapter. All we know is from the passages around it, it seems that he is a wealthy man. He's living on land that his family has lived on for generations. They have a ton of livestock, and he seems to be somewhat spiritual. In Genesis chapter 12, Judaism hasn't become a religion yet. And obviously, then neither had Christianity. Abraham's family was likely polytheistic, and at one point began to shift towards this belief in one God, the Hebrew God, El, or Yahweh. Anyways, we see in Genesis chapter 12, Abraham, in my mind, is out walking in a field, and out of nowhere, he hears a voice, the voice of God. We're not told how. We're not told what the voice sounded like, but I suspect he didn't hear the Morgan Freeman-esque booming male voice that so many of us have come to think of God's voice as, at least in Sunday school. Instead, I believe the voice Abram hears is that still small voice, that voice barely distinguishable from his own. You know the voice. That inner nudging, that faint whisper, a voice that sometimes it's hard to figure out if it's the Spirit or if it's just us. After all, that is how the divine speaks most often, isn't it? Not with thunder and lightning, not in clear or audible voices, but in much subtler ways. Coincidences, premonitions, tugs on our hearts. We're told God speaks somehow to Abraham. And this is what God says in Genesis chapter 12, 1 through 3. God says, "Go from your country, your people, and your father's household to a land that I will show you. And if you do, I will make you a great nation and will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse, and all the people of the earth will be blessed through you." In other words, this passage is essentially God telling Abram, it's time to go. It's time to leave what's familiar and safe. It's time to start packing and walking in a new direction. Notice that God doesn't say where he wants Abram to go. The voice of the divine simply says, "Go to the land that I will show you." This is often how God works in our lives, isn't it? We're not often given a full picture of where things are heading. We're not often given a full answer to the why question that we all inevitably ask. We're just told to go, to take a risk, to begin walking, to trust that even if we don't have a full picture of what is to come, if we begin the journey, we will be guided in the way we should go. Which reminds me of another scripture from the Bible that has guided my own journey. Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6 says, "Trust in God's perspective with all of your heart, and do not rely on your own perspective. In everything you do, be aware of God's presence, and the divine will guide you on the way to go." When God calls Abram, God gives no roadmap or destination. She simply tells Abram, it's time to go. It's time to start walking. It's time to leave the land of your family. It's time to chart a new course. And in a rational human perspective, I think the correct response to hearing this voice is probably to say, are you kidding me? I've got everything I need. I'm comfortable and safe. This is what my family has always done. This is where we've always been. Why would I leave all of this behind? Especially when I don't know why or where I'm going. That's a reasonable response. But let me say, spiritual leadership, moving through life isn't always reasonable. Living a life that's actually transformative, that makes the world a better place, is not a safe life. It doesn't give us the security we often long for. We're called to live outside of boundaries. And inherent to leadership is the willingness to take a risk, to do something that others might not understand, to be willing to leave behind what is good in pursuit of what is even greater, even if we don't know what exactly that greater thing might be. So Abram gets this nudge from God to go, to take the next right step beyond the boundaries and borders of everything he knew. And God gives only a simple promise. If you go, God says, I will protect you. I will give you influence, and the world will be better because of you. God says to Abram, I'm not telling you what is in store. I'm not telling you that what lies ahead is just going to be easy. I'm not saying that there won't be loss and challenge and hurdles. But what I am saying is this: listen to my voice. And if you take this risk, if you step out in faith, you will be better for it. But not only you, the entire world will be. You know, our lives, the lives we're living now, they're not our own. No spiritual tradition calls us to live for ourselves. In fact, the only way to determine if something, I think, is a call from God or not is if you're being led to do something that's entirely selfish, that's only for your benefit. That's probably not from the divine. Because we've not been put on earth to build kingdoms just for ourselves. You see, spiritual leadership is about leveraging all that we are and all that we have been given by God for the healing and the redemption of our world. Spiritual leadership, it's about awakening to the reality that we are channels through which the divine has chosen to work, to create, to bring about the more beautiful world our hearts know is possible. The Apostle Paul says in the New Testament, we are the body of Christ. And I don't believe that's a metaphor. St. Teresa of Avila echoes Paul's sentiment, saying, Christ has no body on earth but ours, no hands or feet on earth but ours. Ours are the eyes through which God looks to this world with kindness. Every single one of us are called to be divine channels. Every single one of us are called to be leaders in this sense. Every one of us are the hands and feet, eyes and mouth of the divine in the world. And because of that, we're called to be risky, dangerous, to step into paths that are exhilarating because we're always listening for that still small voice of God and committed to responding in faith. Not because it benefits us first and foremost, but because it benefits the world. But also, with full knowledge that when we live this kind of life, a life for others, a life of healing, a life of faith, that actually creates blessing for ourselves. Remember, God said to Abram that not only will the world be blessed through him, but he will be blessed because he's being used as a channel to bring healing to the world. And the story continues. Now, you may not know that Abram, A-B-R-A-M, is how this name is spelled in Genesis 12. He later becomes Abraham and is obviously one of the most important religious figures to exist in history. Abraham is credited as the father of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Abraham has been lauded by billions of people as an example of faith because of what happens next in this scripture. In verses 1 through 3, God calls to Abram. And in verse 4, it simply says, "So Abram went, just as the Lord called him." That, my friends, is spiritual leadership. That, my friends, is the life we should be aiming to live. Abram hears the voice of God within, and he hears the call to make a sacrifice, to take a risk, to begin a new journey. And without sitting around debating about it, without going on a spiritual retreat to discern if this is the right path, without second guessing what he's heard, he goes, he departs, he obeys. And in my mind, this is the moment of transition where Abram goes to Abraham. This moment, this decision, this inner calling is what makes Abraham a perfect image for all of us who are looking for inspiration on how we should live our life. And what I also love is this. The second part of verse 4 says, Abram was 75 years old when he set out. Abram was 75. So I don't want to hear from anyone that you are too old or too established or too whatever to follow the Spirit's call. Abraham was elderly. Most people would have said he had already lived his life. His faith called him beyond these limits. He had so much more to do. Abraham was 75 years old, and he was just getting started. Friends, let me say it again. Our life is not meant to be safe. Our dreams, our callings are not meant to be stable per se. Not that stability is bad. We all need that, of course. But what I mean is this. We've each been given tremendous opportunity to be here on earth in this moment. And every dream, every calling that's within you, I believe has been placed there for a reason. Leadership requires believing what others refuse to believe. That if something is within you, the dreams, the nudges, they're all within the realm of possibility. Abram had every legitimate excuse to say, I'm 75 years old. I'm comfortable. I'm retired. My time is up. No one would have ever blamed him for saying that. But he didn't. He chose the better path. You see, friends, as long as you have breath in your lungs, you have a purpose to fulfill. As long as we have the privilege of opening our eyes and beholding this strange and beautiful world, we have a calling to respond to. Young or old, single or with a large family, wealthy or struggling to get by, we're called to listen to the voice of the divine in and around us every day and to respond. To refuse to be paralyzed by fear, to refuse to be paralyzed by the what ifs, to refuse to believe the imposter syndrome or the sense of inadequacy we can sometimes have. No, like Abram, we're called to simply go, to respond, to take the next right step, to trust in God's infinite perspective instead of our finite one. Knowing that whenever we move in step with the Spirit, we will be blessed and we will be made a blessing. We will be provided for and protected. Friends, this is one of the oldest stories in the Bible. It's 4,000 years old. And for 4,000 years, people have heard this story and looked to Abram to help create the more beautiful world we live in now. And friends, I believe humanity is at an inflection point in our journey. We are in a pivotal moment, and we have a choice to make collectively and as individuals. Will we choose the path of being healers or the path of destruction? See, I believe in this moment the Spirit is provoking all of us, giving all of us a call or a new vocation to embrace and participate in the collective healing of our planet. I believe that if we're alive on planet Earth in 2021, we have a calling and a responsibility to listen and respond as channels of the divine, wherever we're placed, whether that's our family or our neighborhood or our city or our state or our country. All of us have a role to play. All of us have a purpose. All of us are being called. And the question is, will we hear the voice of the Spirit and step out in faith? Or will we, like Jonah, run from God's calling? And if you know Jonah's story, that doesn't end very well. He gets swallowed by a whale. But Abram ends differently. Abraham gives birth to a movement of billions of people over thousands of years who seek in right ways and sometimes in wrong to listen and obey the voice of God. Abram really does become the father of many nations, just as the divine promised. And so this evening, I feel compelled to ask all of us this question. What is the Spirit calling you to do? What are you being called to leave behind? How are you being called to step into the next moment of your life? You may or may not know right now, and that's okay. The call is for us to listen, to examine our lives and seek to hear the beckoning voice of God. And when we do hear it, our call is to be like Abram, to go, to depart, to step out, to begin a new journey, not for our sake alone, but for the good of the world. Because again, we all are channels of the divine. And just like it happened for Abraham, God may direct us to give us a new calling in an instant, even when we're 75 years old. May we be a people who are brave and bold enough to respond to God's call, to trust our intuition, to take a leap of faith. Because if we do, I'm confident that the divine will use us to nudge humanity in the right direction in this moment. The direction of healing, of restoration, and of abundant life. So namaste, let us listen. Let us be aware. And when God speaks, let us go with boldness and bravery. May it be so. Amen.
Wow. Rev Branden, I'm imagining, and listening to you talk, you reminded me a little bit of what John Lewis said, which was to get in trouble, good trouble. Yeah. And that idea that I always think of, it's not that to play it safe is really not living life, is what I heard you say. I think I lost
Sorry
you.
about
there
that.
You are. No worries.
Yes.
So to play it safe is really not living life. And to only go for what's safe means that I'm really not living to my potential. I'm not really living to the potential where I can actually make a difference in the world.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I feel like every story from the scriptures is one where people are asked to take a risk. And every time people don't take risks, things tend not to work out. I mean, Pope Francis has a very...
by a whale.
Yeah. Pope Francis has a beautiful line. It's so simple, but I used it in one of my books. It was, life is a journey. When we stop, things don't go right. And I really feel like that's true, that we are all called to be nomadic in some sense and always be looking for the next step where the Spirit's nudging us. And if we stop, that's where things start to get messed up. When we refuse to listen and be moved by the Spirit, that's when I think we get off course.
One of the things that you talked about in the essay in the liminal space wanting, which is you talk about the period of transition and how thresholds are great periods of discomfort. So I'm going to just take you to the movement that you're participating more than I am, as we're more of a trans-denominational faith, which is we take the blend of, we call it the golden threads of different faith traditions. But where do you feel that Christianity is moving to, or is only part of it moving? Maybe you could kind of speak to that.
Yeah, I feel like Christianity is always moving in different directions. It's such an amorphous thing when we say Christian, but I do see, and I'm a part of what's being called progressive Christianity, which is this movement simply to say, let's look at Jesus not as primarily a religious figure. Let's look at him as he was, primarily somebody who was trying to bring about a new kind of world in a tangible way and in a spiritual way, and then adopt that and adapt that into all of our traditions. And so to follow in that path of Jesus doesn't mean that you have to give up your indigenous spiritual practices or your nature-based spiritual practices. And my hope is that as more people are awakening to kind of an inner spirituality that is centered on kind of the ethics and the example of Jesus, that the bringing together of ancient traditions that go far beyond Christianity, as well as embracing the good message that Jesus and many other spiritual teachers have heralded, I feel like that combination is where I'm seeing this movement go. And I think in some sense, I'm happy to say that it's kind of beyond Christianity. It's transcending and including Christianity. And I'm hopeful because that's the kind of world that I want to see.
Well, it sounds like we're talking about more the message of the man than the man himself.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the biggest revelations for me over the past probably 8 years, has been slowly coming to terms with Jesus was not primarily meant to be worshipped. Like, that's not what Jesus ever wanted us to do. Jesus wanted to be followed. And it's so biblical, which is funny because none of the Bible-based churches seem to teach this, but it's right there in the text. So
I wonder though, in my sort of place of compassion for folks is it comes back to, I want to be told what to do. I want to be told which way to go. And what you just spoke to was that the only way forward is the way through, with the trust in the divine God Spirit that I will be led.
Yeah. I mean, that's so frustrating, right? I'm with you. Like, for all of us, we would want to be clearly guided and having clear directions. But my experience in life is like the life sitting here today, speaking to you with my circumstances, I could have never charted this out. I'm sure that's what everyone on this call in some sense has felt, that only when we're brave enough, I believe, and bold enough to listen and be provoked by the Spirit, and then to take the first step beyond what's comfortable and what's safe. I think that's where life is found. Like, that's where the true purpose and meaning come to fruition.
Well, you said in the essay, the spiritual life is about movement and evolution. So it's not about staying static, and it's not about not changing. It's about, really life is always changing, whether I'm conscious of it or not.
Yeah. And I used the phrase before, and I think I might have used it in that essay, but Ken Wilber, who's a philosopher, he talks about transcend and include. It's not that I'm not giving up my evangelicalism and fundamentalism, because there are actually really beautiful things that came from that stage of my spiritual journey. I'm to take all the good from that, transcend it, and include it in who I'm becoming. And I think this goes beyond just spirituality, right? In every aspect of our life, as we're evolving and growing, we're supposed to not just be throwing the baby out with the bathwater, but realizing people at different levels, and when we were at different levels, there were good things there. And instead of reacting against it, we take the good and keep moving and expanding and becoming who we're supposed to be.
Science of Mind, which is one of the reasons, as you know, I grew up Mormon. So I've brought my Mormon heritage and a lot of the things that resonated most with me into the practice I have today without the dogma. I've left that to the side. And Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes always talked about the fact that this philosophy is not something to replace your set of beliefs. It's to enhance and expand and give you a deeper relationship with the divine or God. In fact, we don't tell people what God is because any faith tradition can walk in. So I really appreciated having this. I can tell in what you've shared that you've had a lot of different teachers in your life.
Yeah, for sure. And I hope, I've been just lucky in many ways to be able to bump into and get to spend some time with different people with different perspectives. But I feel like, again, that is the spiritual journey. Jesus said, the spirit is like the wind. No one knows from where it comes or where it goes. And that should be our guiding force. We should be listening and drinking from as many wells as we can find to help quench this spiritual thirst that I think the divine has put in us for a reason. And that will take us towards Christianity sometimes and towards endless other paths.
That quote you just read was my next one to ask you, because it was one of my favorite quotes in your essay about that the spirit is like the wind. And I love that because it tells me that I don't necessarily know which way it's going either.
Yeah.
And that's part of the journey. So Rev Branden, thank you so much for coming today. I so appreciate the words that you've shared in the essay and all the different, I've looked at quite a few of your talks and what you've shared with us today. I just really appreciate who you are. So thank you for coming. And
I appreciate you and this community. It's so beautiful. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And I know we're going to have you back. So for those of you, this is Reverend Branden Robertson and Extraordinary. Make sure you follow this man and the power and the strength that he is in the world today. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Namaste. Namaste. I just wanted to say how amazing it is to be able to have folks like Rev Branden come and speak to us and to share just a different perspective on something so similar and familiar as what we are teaching ourselves. And it may have a different vocabulary to it, but there were so many similarities to it. And I just appreciate his perspective and how he teaches from his book, his favorite book, the Bible, which I teach from a lot too. And I think that's an invitation for us to step outside of thinking that it's only what I know and what I hear and what's familiar, completely familiar, to which I can learn from. And I've learned a lot by listening to Reverend Branden. So I just want to thank him for that. We're going to move into our conscious giving and our pledge program. First, I wanted to talk to folks about our pledge program. We're moving into some final weeks. And so I'm going to be reaching out to folks about the pledge program and the fact that this is such a great opportunity for us all to step in and to commit to this community that is so beautiful and gives so much. So many give so much. So a pledge. And let me just invite you, if you have not pledged to Namaste, the time is now to do so. It allows us to plan forward for a few things, specifically to plan out our messaging and the programs that support that. It allows us to look forward and see what we want to do as a community, whether it's paint our ministers or additional musical programs or whatever that might be, including things like what you see here with StreamYard and with our website and with YouTube channel. All those things are what your pledge supports. So just really invite you to consider that pledge. And it doesn't have to be any more than you give now. But when I pledge, what I'm doing is committing to my spiritual community, the community that gives back to me. So let me just say that that's really important as a member of Namaste. The other thing is, let's move into our conscious giving at this moment. And so I know that this time that we give to, whether we call it a gift or giving or a tithe, is an opportunity to give back to where I'm spiritually fed. So I'm just going to ask that you take that gift that's yours, whether you gave it on Gift Plus or Venmo or whatever it happens to be. Just take that gift and place your hand on your heart as if that gift, because the gift that you give is you. The gift that I give to Namaste, I tithe to Namaste. And the gift I give to Namaste is because I'm spiritually fed by not only what I do, but all of you. So let's take that gift and let's bless it right here and right now. And allow that gift, knowing that that gift that has been placed on the altar is the gift that expands the energy of this community. As we move through this unprecedented time of a pandemic of political strife and polarization, what I do know is that we're all one anyway, no matter what is happening. And when I give from that place that's me, I give to one. And I give to that one, which is not just myself, but all who hear what Namaste does. So let us bless this give, knowing that it expands and goes forward and does such amazing things. And with that, I just say, thank you, God. And so it is. So I think this is the time. So I've been kind of playing director for just a moment. So Paulette's actually going to bring up the benediction slide, and then we're going to go into our final moments of the service. Again, I want to thank Rev Branden. So Paulette, why don't you pull that benediction slide, and you go ahead and just make it as big as you can, because I want folks to read this with me. So let's all take a nice deep breath and just pause for a moment as we read this. Because this month, which is March, Women's History Month, and an opportunity to go deep. Every month is an opportunity to go deep. So let us go deep by reading this with such intention. So read it with me. Perfection is already accomplished. I am that perfect life here and now. Today, I express the limitless life of the all good. Today, I manifest my completion in every part of me. Today, I am whole. Today, I am one with spirit and my life, and it reflects the perfect whole. And so it is. And just knowing that this time that we have, I'm so grateful to get to spend it with you and to be able to share time with you that's been represented. But so let me just say some thank yous here. First, Paulette, why don't you come up here and just say hello to everyone. This is our director, Paulette. Paulette.
Hello.
Another great service. Thank you, Paulette, for your service. Thank you so much for all you do. I'm so glad I get to work with you on this. So thank you so much.
You.
And I also wanted to thank Rev Veronica, who took on the host spot for the first half. Thank you, Rev Veronica. You may not have coming up, but we're bringing you up.
It's all good. It's all good.
Thank you so much. And I also want to thank Kong, and he's going to come up in just a moment. Don't bring Kong up yet, Paulette. But could you bring Rev Branden up one more time? And I think Rev Branden can hear me. And thank you again for your message today. Thank you for all that you do.
Thank you. It's been so good to be with you.
Wonderful. And we'll see you again next time.
For sure.
And with that, let's go ahead and bring Kong up, and let's close this service off.
I've got an apple, which is a shaker. Because, yeah, everyday people eat apples. And let's just rock it. Let's go for it. Ready? Thanks, everybody. I love you. Namaste. I laid this loop down in advance. Let's have some fun. Feel it. You know, a lot of times, I'm always asking people to sing wherever you are. Maybe today you just got to dance. Sometimes I'm right, I right every wrong. My own beliefs are in this song. A butcher, a baker, a drummer, and then makes no difference what group I'm in. I am everyday people. Yeah, yeah. There is the blue one who can't accept the green, one for living with the fat one, trying to be the skinny one. Different strokes for different folks. So on and Scooby-Dooby-Dooby. Ooh, sha-sha. We got to live together. I know better, and neither do you. We are the same, whatever we do. You know, you hate me, you know me, and then you can figure out the bag I'm in. I'm everyday people. Yeah, yeah. There is the long hair that doesn't like the short hair, for being such a rich one that will not help the poor one. Different strokes for different folks. So on and Scooby-Dooby-Dooby. Ooh, sha-sha. We got to live together. There is the yellow one that won't accept the black, one that won't accept the red, one that won't accept the white one. Different strokes for different folks. So on and Scooby-Dooby-Dooby. Ooh, sha-sha. I am everyday people. Thank you, Namaste.
I'm totally dancing down in the green room. I love that song. In fact, we're going to have to bring up the dancers because it was Veronica and I down there going nuttier than anything.
Well, we're going to play that next week in the park, so everyone has a chance to dance together.
I think it works.
Maybe we'll find some other cool, weird instruments to get in there, too.
Thank you so much. I know that we're going to get to be together physically on March 21st. We're going to open it up so people can join us at our building at Christ Lutheran Church at 4:30, and I'm so excited to get to see you. So
absolutely back at you, and everybody that's going to be there. Looking forward to it.
Me too. We're going to be safe and we're going to be careful. And I just want to thank everyone that joined us tonight, and just say have a great week, have a safe week, and we'll see you in the park next Sunday. Make sure you RSVP. Please don't miss out. Love to see you. And Rev Veronica is going to be speaking, which I am so excited to hear her because she's fabulous. So thank you, Namaste, and have a fantastic week.